today we are going to continue with multiplying decimals. Today, our I can statement is I can multiply decimals by decimals using models and the algorithm. Okay, we're going to do both just like we did yesterday. Again, we're going to need two different colored pencils like we did yesterday, and we're going to use a very similar strategy to do this work. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is look at the model I have here. My problem is 4/10 times 5/10. Now, it's important for everybody to know that when you see 4/10 times 5/10, it kind of means what is 4/10 of 5/10, right? Remember when we learned multiplication, I told you that I had 4 groups of 5 or 3 groups of 12, things like that. Well, multiplication in this scenario can also be said as 4/10 of 5/10. So I want to know how much of 5/10 is 4/10. Okay? So we're going to start off using my model here. So I have 3 colors. You won't need 3 colors. Your pencil can be your third color, and I'll show you how to count. So my first factor, I'm going to highlight my first box, this color. My first factor will be that color. My second factor will be a little bit darker. And then my product, the answer, today my answer is going to be in this color, which is why we need 3, and I'll show you why. So the first factor is what number? Say it. 4/10. So everybody take your first color, and we're going to shade 4/10 vertically. Okay? So watch how I do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I shaded 4 out of the total 10. Did everybody see that? Okay? 4 out of the 10. Go ahead and quickly shade 4 of the 10. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't even really want to shade a complete square all the way down. You want to give yourself some white around it because you'll be able to see your product a little easier. Now, what's my second factor? 5/10. Now, watch what I do this time. I'm going to shade the opposite way. Okay? So now I'm going to shade 5/10 horizontally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of my 10 are shaded horizontally. Now the product, or the answer I get to my multiplication problem, is where the 2 colors overlap. So in all the squares that you see both colors, like in this square, do I see both colors in this square over here?
Nope.
No, how about down here?
Nope.
No, I only see overlapping in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. In those 20 squares. So then my answer is 20 out of how many?
100.
Out of 100. So how do I write 20 hundredths? Decimal to 0. Okay? Does that make sense? Pretty easy, right? That's like a fun activity with models. Unlike yesterday where we had to shade so much, we're not really shading a lot here. We're just shading tenths and then counting the overlap. All right? What one of my students last year noticed, and I didn't say it, but I'll kind of draw attention to it this year. When I count, they saw an array. Do you see an array?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, an array right here, don't you? It's an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 4. And what does a 5 by 4 get me? 20. You see that array? So you're always going to create a double shaded array. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the model. Now yesterday we did the algorithms. Let's go down here to the bottom. Let's go ahead and do that algorithm again. Let's go ahead and do that algorithm again, all right? Remember, what was my rule? Does anyone remember my rule yesterday? Yes, sir.
Multiplication is basically just repeated addition.
All right, but we're not doing repeated addition today. We're just doing the algorithm. And what was the rule yesterday from the algorithm? Yes, sir, over there.
How many digits behind the decimal
Absolutely. The same number of digits behind the decimal in my question has to match the same number of digits behind the decimal in my answer, right? So in my question up here, how many digits do you see behind the decimal?
2.
2. So in my answer, there should also be 2. So I write that 2 down there. Now what is 4 times 5?
20.
20. Do I need to multiply by the zeros? No. Will that change my product at all? No. So how many? Where should my decimal go in this answer? Behind the 2? In front of that 2. Very good. Okay. Awesome sauce. Alright? So now let's look at the left side of your paper. Your left side, the notes. Look at the note page. Alright? So today I can multiply decimals by decimals using models and the standard algorithm. We just did both, right? So let's look at a little bit of practice on that, okay? So we have this note page. It says, the distance from Charlene's house to her school is 8/10 of a mile. Charlene rides her bike 7/10 of that distance and walks the rest of the way. So how far does she ride her bike to get to school? So I want to know what is 7/10 of 8/10, right? So what does that look like as a math sentence? Yes, sir. What does a math sentence look like? Yes, sir.
The math sentence. Okay, so just imagine that you're riding on a bike.
No, I want you to tell me the math sentence.
Oh, so it's you're riding 7/10 of a mile. You're riding 7/10 of a mile.
Tell me the math sentence. I just want the math sentence.
7/10 and 8, and then you're gonna do 8.
Okay, close. Morgan.
7/10 times 8.
Thank you. 7/10 times 8/10. That's my math sentence, right? Okay, so now take your two colors, and let's start with your first color. Your first factor is 7/10. Which way do we shade? Horizontally or vertically?
Vertically.
Vertically, okay? So start with your first color and shade 7/10 vertically. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/10. Okay? And again, you don't want to like completely shade it in. You want to be able to see some of that white. It makes it easier to count afterwards, right? Now take your second color and shade 8/10 which way? Horizontally. We're going to shade 8 of them, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my third step, what's my third step going to be? Count the overlapping parts, right? So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56 are shaded. 56 out of how many?
100.
100. What does that look like?
So you do 56 out of 100.
What does it look like?
Decimal
Thank you.
56.
Decimal 56. 56 hundredths. Now, do you see an array?
Yeah.
Absolutely. How many rows do I have?
7. 8.
8 rows. How many columns? 7. An array, I multiply what is 8 times 7?
56.
There is my algorithm. Right? There's the algorithm. Okay? So if I wrote the algorithm in this box, I'd have 7/10 times 8/10, and that gives me 56. How many places behind the decimal?
2.
1, 2, so I need 2 places. The answer is 56 hundredths. Okay, does it match my model?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay? Yes, sir.
So can you add it? Can you multiply it normally than just add decimal?
That's the kicker, isn't it? Absolutely. That's what I want you to do. I want you guys to use the algorithm because I want you to be efficient mathematicians. But the state of Texas requires me to teach you the model. Okay? They want you to understand the model. But yes, absolutely you can. Okay? Alright, so let's practice a little bit. So 8 tenths times 4 tenths. Right? 8 tenths times 4 tenths. What would I shade first?
The 8 tenths.
8 tenths vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths. And then
4 tenths horizontally.
4 tenths horizontally. 1, 2, 3, 4. And last step? Count the overlap or find the array, right? What's my array here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 4 times 8 gives me?
32.
So 32 are shaded, but 32 out of
100.
100. Now, what does the algorithm look like? Decimal 8.
Decimal 8 times decimal 4.
And 4 times 8 is?
32.
32. 1, 2 behind the decimal.
Decimal 32 decimals.
Does it match?
Yes.
Okay, pretty simple? You
Yes.
feel good about it?
Yes.
Let's do one more, and then we're going to go to a little bit bigger problem, okay? One more. I like this one. 1 tenth of 7 tenths.
Oh, that's
What is 1 tenth of 7 tenths? You think it's easy? 7 tenths? Is that my answer, 7 tenths?
no.
Can't be 7 tenths. I like that you're thinking, though, because you told me that 1 times anything is anything, right? But this isn't 1.
This is
It's 1 tenth. So let me show you what that looks like. So first I'll shade 1 tenth. Now, I'll shade 7 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
But how many are shaded?
700.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 7 by 1. It's 7 out of 100. 700ths. This is why I like doing the algorithm. Let me show you why the algorithm will make it a little easier. If I multiply 1 tenth times 7 tenths, 1 times 7 is 7. But how many places behind the decimal do I need?
2.
1, 2. Well, if I do that, 1, 2, I made room for a
Decimal.
0, 700ths. Okay, gotta be careful, right? That's why I like the algorithm. Okay, so now I feel pretty good about that. Let's look at this one. And this is the one that I actually get stumped on. I forget sometimes. Okay, so it says 4 tenths times 1 and 6 tenths. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to shade 1 and 6 tenths with my first color. So that's this whole thing. This whole piece here, right? This whole one plus how much of this one? 6 of this one. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I've got to shade 4 tenths of just one of them or both of them? Both of them. I'm shading 4 tenths of the whole thing. So that's 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. Now ask yourself, how much is shaded? Well, I've got 2 partial products here, kind of, right? Over here, on this side, I've got a 4 by how much? 10, which is
40.
40. 40 out of 100. Over here, I've got a 4 by
6.
6, which is
24.
24 out of 100. So together, I have
64.
64 hundredths. That's a tricky one, isn't it? But that's a more fun one to me. I enjoy this a little bit more. All right?
Yeah, I like it.
Huh? I didn't forget the 1 hole. This is 1 hole. But I only had 4 tenths of the 1 hole shaded. Right? I only want 4 tenths of 1 and 4 tenths of 6 tenths. Does that make sense? I only want 4 tenths of the whole thing. But let's look at the algorithm. Let's see if the algorithm clears it up for us. So let's take 1 and 6 tenths times 4 tenths. Remember the rule, multiply like normal, and then add your... So where do I start?
6 times 4.
4 times 6 is?
24.
24. 4 times 1?
4.
Plus 2? 6. Now how many places are behind the decimal?
2.
2. 1, 2. So 1, 2, decimal. Does it match my model?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay? Alright. Not too bad, right? Could be worse, right? Okay, so I am going to practice with you on this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put your name, date, and period on the top of it. You okay? What's wrong? Huh? Okay. Alright, as soon as you get your paper, put your name, date, and period on the top. Put your name, date, and period on the top. Okay, leave the extra on the table, that's fine.
Is this really the exit? Yes.
No, I'm not saying it's hot. I'm saying
Okay, so you have your two colors, right? You have your two colors. So, number one, solve by using a model. So this first one, 6/10 times 9/10. So what are we going to shade first? 6/10. So take your first color and shade 6/10 vertically. Then shade 9/10 which way? With your other color. So 1. Okay? And then count how many are overlapping. So I've got a (9 by 6), which gives me
54.
54. How many places behind the decimal?
2.
54 hundredths. Alright? And that is how we multiply decimals by decimals. Okay? Make sense, everybody?
Yep.
Alright, good luck with that.